it looks like we are ready for that BioShock any percent run. Bloodthunder, would you kindly take it away?
What's going on, everybody? I am so honored to be back here on the Games Done Quick stage to showcase BioShock once again. You may have just heard in the interview, but I ran this game all the way back in AGDQ 2014. I've run it 2 other times since then. So, no stranger to showing this off, but it's going to be pretty different from what you've seen before. If you've never seen a BioShock speedrun, oh boy, it's going to be a wild ride, so buckle up. I'm going to try to explain everything as I go. I'm a solo commentary here, so bear with me. I don't explain everything perfectly. If you do have questions after this, feel free to DM me or come by a stream, something like that. I will gladly answer any questions you have, but we're gonna try to have some fun with it. We'll see how it goes. Okay, we start this from a save file because there is, if you've played the game, a pretty long intro that gets us into Rapture, but we'll talk about that as we go. So I'm going to load up the save, and then once it starts, we will have our time. Hope you guys are ready for this. Okay, so run's going to start in 3, 2, 1, go. And we're off. Through the fire and the flames we go. We carry on. We're just going to swim through this. We can't really take damage, so we don't need to worry about dying, but we're going to make our way to the lighthouse. It's going to be a good fun time over here. Make our way all the way into the murky depths. While this run's going to get pretty wild, the intro is pretty tame. We have a wonderful cutscene to watch, and a little bit of a trick actually to perform. There's always a lighthouse, always a man. I'm just going to walk through the dark. It's a little spooky, but don't worry. I'll hold your hand through the whole adventure. Gonna head down to this bathysphere, which is going to take us down into the city. We're going to attempt to jump out of the bathysphere as it closes behind us. Hit the lever, and now we can't leave. It's still going to put us on the bathysphere. But you may notice I'm not inside. We're sticking out on top, which is going to save about 3 seconds when we get to the end of the stage, just because I hit that load trigger a little bit early. This might give you some flashbacks of the previous run with the airboat. Don't worry, we got plenty of clipping, but we're not going to use those at all. So this is Rapture. It's a beautiful city. We're going to have Andrew Ryan, who is the founder and builder of Rapture. Well, he probably didn't build it himself. That's okay. Going to give us this whole thing. As we get further into this little cutscene, you're going to notice that we're not really supposed to see what we do. But I do want to take the moment to shout out both all of the game devs, whether they're writing, audio, QA, whatever it may be. They make these wonderful games for us to play, which is awesome. You know, they don't find this stuff because there's no reason to. We spend hundreds of thousands of hours across the community looking for this stuff. So even though we break it, we do it out of love. And like I said, I've been running this since even before AGDQ 2014. So you can kind of see where these tunnels don't lead. You know, maybe they're just building this side of Rapture and that didn't quite finish yet. Something like that. Get a little glimpse of handsome Squidward here. So we pass by. Non-copyright, of course. This is a Big Daddy, one of the few that we will see. Doesn't have a little sister with him, but he is the big bad protector roaming around. So we'll see a couple of them, but maybe not as many as you'd want. So we're going into Rapture, which is a city under the water, owned by Andrew Ryan that has fallen to a state of disarray. Fontaine has tried to basically throw a coup and like take over the city, which is not a great thing at all. Hey, into Rapture we go, and this is where things start to get a little busted. First, we have to deal with Johnny here. And while he is a pretty cool guy, he's not the smartest. We get a glimpse of our first splicer as well. Splicers, you may have heard in the interview as well, are our friends in this. Typically, they're going to be your enemy. That is not the case here at all. Spanish can go out in style. And then once we get out of the bathysphere, which we can't currently do anything about, kind of locked in here, all hell is about to break loose. Splicer's going to try to get in, but we don't have to worry about her quite yet. Soon we will be greeted by a man named Atlas, who's going to be very kind to us and lead us through the city. Since we just got here, don't know what's going on. He's going to kind of give us our missions and tell us what to do. We're not really going to listen to him, but we will have him along for the ride.
Would you kindly pick up that shortwave radio? I don't know how you survived that plane crash, but I've never been one to question Providence.
I hope you guys are ready for this. Whether you've seen one before or not, I really like showing this run. The new route, there's some new tricks that were found just a couple months ago. It really changed things, and shout outs to both KPC Zombie and Prisoner for keeping this game alive and helping to find these strats and push the times down. They've been two pillars of the BioShock community, so shout outs to them. Awesome runners. Splicer's going to run away, and we're going to get our taste of combat. So we need our handy dandy wrench to break through this rubble. He's kind of sitting here. Atlas is still being very nice to us, saying, hey, would you kindly pick this up? Would you kindly do that? It's really nice, man. Anyways, we're going to start manipulating Splicer AI. By jumping over that chair, we get this Splicer to be aggressive towards us very quickly. We're going to simply end that fight. And this is where things start to break. So while we save, we're going to hit use and escape at the same time. So we can bring up our menu, and now we've picked up Electrobolt. The game just doesn't know it yet. So we're going to save again, and we're going to load that save. So we've started this cutscene, now we've picked up Electrobolt, and you can see the game wants to pull me back to the Gatherer's Garden so we can actually start the cutscene. But because we did a save load, we have the ability to jump for whatever reason. And that's going to allow us to just simply jump away. The game says, come here. We say, no thank you. We got some stuff to do. So throughout the entire Welcome to Rapture level, we're going to have to jump all the way through, dealing with enemies and the things that show up in our face. Hop through the water. We need to spawn on the Splicer so we can start learning about plasmids and how combat works. The 1-2 punch, which is Electrobolt. Try that again. Hit him with the wrench. So sometimes I can actually use the game dragging me back to that cutscene to my advantage. Because we're running really far away, it's never really useful, but every now and then you can kind of just slide on the floor. I'm going to get in here. Hardest part of this level. Okay, not too bad. One toasted marshmallow there. So yeah, the only ways to remove this whole thing is to either beat the level, or we have to like die twice in a Vita chamber, and it's really awful and really slow. But this does get us around both the Little Sister, Big Daddy cutscene at the start, and a cutscene coming up here in just a little bit. So if you're wondering, like, is this really worth it? Yes. This is several minutes of time save. And it is so nice. A little awkward movement, but once you put in some time, it's not too bad. Anyways, we need to deal with another Splicer who's guarding a baby. We're going to pick up this handy-dandy baby. It happens to be a pistol. Kind of odd, but that's how things go in Rapture. Avoid stuff on the floor, and into the bathroom we go. So once we go in here, we're going to enter the theater cutscene, which is going to kind of soft lock us against this wall. But another save load will give us the ability to jump once again, load the right save. So now Atlas is like, oh, hey, we want you to watch this cutscene. Would you kindly put away your weapons? You don't want to scare off the NPCs. But we can pull them back out. Because once again, we don't really play by their rules. Skip that cutscene. And now we have to fight some splicers to end the stage. So 1-2 punch that one. We just give this guy a nice 2. Now we got some splicers in the water, which we can zap.
Would you kindly lower that weapon for a minute? Do you think that's a child down there?
Okay. Jump over the railing. This is going to trigger the fight. Now we need to get over here fast so the splicer doesn't run away. So not only is our character moving, also our camera kind of gets a little bit of drift as well, which makes it hard to get headshots, but hey. Playing all that Apex has certainly paid off there. We're going to have 2 more pop out, and then things are about to get really crazy. Oh, I missed that one. Okay. So at the end of the stage, there's one more cutscene, but there's a little bug that the game devs found and just left in, which is just shocking the door. It's quite shocking, but it is pretty useful. This is the only door that's going to work on in the game, but we just zap the door and we're through. All right, Medical Pavilion is where things get real crazy. So I'm going to try my best to explain this, but we have some time later on. So if at first it doesn't make sense, I hope, and a little bit it will. So we're going to walk over here, and we need to push this cash register towards this wall. Can't really pick things up, so we just have to kind of move it around. Okay. Gonna hack this spot real quick, just so it's out of the way. And then we're going to blow it up. So there's 2 splicers over here, and we only want one of them. So we're going to look at the floor. She's yelling. She's angry. And drag her over this way. So something with the splicers is that when you're standing on top of them and they die, your hitbox kind of just goes away and gets tied into theirs. You basically like turn into a ghost and possess their body, which sounds very strange, but it is very, very handy. So we want to get the splicer into this corner. This is the hardest and newest trick in the route, so bear with me here. This might take a couple of attempts. Ooh, very close. All right, clip through. That's really, really good. That's the trick I was the most scared about. We're going to pick up a diary message, pick up telekinesis, and then we need to do a death warp, which is intentionally taking self-damage so that we can die. This skips Incinerate. Incinerate is a pretty staple plasmid for both the game and the speedrun. We will never pick it up. You're not going to see it at all. Which is why we have to death warp out of here, because we don't have Incinerate to melt the ice. However, now we have telekinesis, which is the most broken plasmid in the series. So we're going to combine this broken plasmid with the trick that we just did and talked about, and hopefully it'll make more sense once we do this. We're going to bring the splicer down the stairs. We're going to get on top of her head once again. Save, because these tricks are very volatile. They're not too bad to pull off, but they can just go wrong, like there. We didn't get in collision. We'll talk more about collision here in a second, but we can use telekinesis to pick up the body, throw it to the door, and just clip through the other side. So think of it as like we lose our hitbox, but the splicer's body remains intact. With telekinesis, we can pick that body up, and we are like glued to it. So if we move it around, if we throw it, we will go with it. And because we don't have a hitbox, if we throw it against a wall or a door or a ceiling or whatever we want, we just kind of clip on through. And we're going to use that pretty much on every level that we can. So let's go set up another one. And if you've played the game, your big question might be, well, you don't have Incinerate to melt the ice here. How are you going to deal with that? And you'll see. We need this splicer to walk right here. It's really important to note you cannot drop on top of the splicer's head or jump onto it. You have to walk from a flat, like equivalent surface. So these setups are pretty particular. We're going to zap him to kind of keep him in place. We're going to use his own hat to take him out. You're going to see me save a lot because if you hit any bit of collision, so their hat, their weapon, just a random pipe in the ceiling, you will get knocked out of this state. And we really want to be in this state. Oh, am I on this body? Oh, I am. Okay. Kind of two different bodies here. This is going to look like kind of the opposite of what I said before about hitting any bit of collision is going to knock us out. These fence gates don't really work the same as other ones. So we're just going to drag this through. They're a little tricky. This is the hardest thing besides the first medical skip that we did. And we are going to take this body for an adventure. Pull through that gate. All right, we're going to give up our weapons. We could just clip through this door, but we want to take this body even further. we're not done with it quite yet. You can see I like keep dropping the body so I can do like very small adjustments and not go up too high in the ceiling. Now, back to the whole incinerate debacle. We don't have incinerate, so we can't melt the ice here. So we're just going to use this body in a different way. We're going to use this barrel to set the body on fire, flip through this gate, get our weapons back, because we did give those up just a moment ago, and then throw this at the ice. But we need to be really, really quick because the body will go out. It will extinguish. So we need to make sure we hit this block of ice as well, and we did it sweet. Those are the harder parts of the run, so I'm really glad those went pretty well. Smuggler's Hideout is a little bit of a break, thankfully, both in terms of the tricks that we have to do and the stuff that I have to explain. It's pretty much the walk to the end. So if you have a quick donation, we can get that in.
Absolutely. I've got $20 from Thorcat, and it just says, "Go, Master Bloodthunder."
Yeah, for those not aware, that is Thor is my cat. He's very adorable. Post a lot of his pictures on Twitter, and that's probably coming from my mom and dad. So, shout outs to them. All right, coming up here, we need to do a little bit more aim training. We're going to pop a lock, hopefully, and then go back to Electrobolt cutscene. We did not get that. That's fine. So when we did the Electrobolt cutscene skip, we saved and we hit use. Here we're going to hold back. This is known as input buffering. Basically, whenever we're saving the game, we can hit keys, do actions, and then once it's done doing the save, it will apply those actions. We just basically hit the lever and then hold back so we get out of the door before it closes, or get out of the room before the door closes. You guys just kind of hanging out down there. And now we're going to talk about audio. So the game has two types of dialogue. It has radio messages, which is what you're hearing now. The game thinks those are important, like your big quest lines and big bits of dialogue. Then it has diary messages, which are the ones you can pick up along the way. The game considers those optional. If you're trying to leave a level, because you just ran through it really fast, and have a bunch of radio messages queued up, the game won't let you leave. Like, you need to listen to this, pay attention, and then we'll let you leave. Diary messages don't work the same way. So if you see me open the menu, I'm just playing a diary message to skip past some of the audio. Anyways, we're going to do what's known as a fling. This is kind of an old school trick that, with the splicer stuff, was taken out. This is simply using telekinesis at a high frame rate on top of an object. Again, a lot of height. The higher your frame rate, the more likely you are to get a boost, and the higher a boost you can get. So with more modern PCs, because this game is pretty old, sometimes you have to go back in and actually cap the frame rate. Otherwise, you just go flying up and then the fall damage kills you. We're going to bring this box along throughout the entirety of Arcadia. Now, everyone kind of loves the B quest line and getting B plasmid. We're just going to simply fling over top of it. We need to make sure not to look at a trigger that's actually going to start that quest line, which locks down this area and we can't leave. So jump over it and on to Fort Frolic. Now, I know I've run past a lot of stages, but I want to know from people in chat and anyone watching later on YouTube, what is your favorite stage that I am currently running past? I know a lot of people love Fort Frolic. There's some medical pavilion lovers. Like I said, some people like the bees, but I'm always curious to hear what part of the game resonates with different people. Speaking of Fort Frolic, don't get too attached to it, is all I will say. I'm just going to pick up a handy dandy suitcase. This game loves to show you the exit and say, hey, you need to go do something else to actually leave the level. For the game, that's cool. For the speedrun, that means we can just go right to the end. So we're just gonna fling up on top of this invisible wall and look for the bathysphere lever. The bathysphere visually goes away, but it's still hard-coded to be there. So if you know where to look, you can just hit that invisible lever and off to Hephaestus you go. This is typically where you would build an EMP bomb so you can get to Andrew Ryan, who we are currently trying to get to. I usually like to throw a bit of story throughout these runs. It's really hard to do that with this run nowadays, but we need another splicer. One note about splicers here is that only specific splicers are going to work because we need to walk on top of their head. We need them to actually follow us. So we need melee splicers, also known as thuggish. You see he has like a pipe with them. Sometimes they'll have that, or like a wrench or a golf club or whatever it may be. The ones with guns, the leadhead splicers like this guy aren't going to work. Houdini splicers, the teleporting ones, and nitro splicers with the grenades just are no good. So there are splicers closer than this, but we need this one in particular. Just going to take him on a little walk. Keep on coming this way. We also need to be able to walk straight on top of his head, so it has to be a very specific spot. Now we're going to save. Take his body to the exit, and then once again the game says, "Hey, here's the exit. Here's how you can get the RCC, the Rapture Central Control. Go build an EMP bomb, and we'll let you through." The game doesn't know we have a splicer body. You can just clip right through, do a little diary skip here, and we're on to RCC. We're going to do a little bit of a magic trick. We'll see what happens. So we're actually going to do the exact opposite of what I talked about before. We're going to play a radio message and then start the transition back to Hephaestus, the level we just came from, which seems really counterintuitive. It's like, why would you want to go backwards? That's not the way forward, but it's a little bit of a magic trick. So currently in the back of your mind, think about, we're trying to go back to the level that we were just at. However, we're going to get some stuff done in this stage real quick. Now we need to get past this door, so we're going to keep radio messages playing, but we're also going to skip past some other dialogue. And before we walk into this cutscene, the big pivotal plot twist of the game, we're going to play a diary message. This is going to tell the game, hey, we're ready to go back to Hephaestus, and then walk into the cutscene. So we started the whole thing with Andrew Ryan and his great speech, and now we're going back to Hephaestus, and we're going to go right back to RCC, because we don't want to be here. Olympus Heights is on the other side. Well, this is very important to do. There are two halves to the Andrew Ryan cutscene, the one that we just skipped, and the second part, which is going to like take away our movement and stuff like that. We're doing this so that we can actually save and load during that second part. This isn't really too much faster than just watching the first half. But by leaving and coming back in, we can do that save load, which... we demonstrated in Medical Pavilion, the game doesn't really like. And then we get to the big twist that everyone loves. So I can't really talk too much about the sword, but we do get to see a bit of it here. Everyone's favorite part. We need to fling over this gate that closed behind us when we activated the cutscene. This one's a little bit tricky, because it's actually possible to hit your head on the ceiling and not get over, just like that. It's where the high frame rate kind of becomes a problem. There we go. All right, I'm going to walk into the second cutscene, and then we're going to do a save, load. Now, this is like a really cool moment. Like, it's a moment you don't really want to miss, especially if you're playing casually. It's like you just want to experience it for the first time for sure. So we're going to plug this in, and it turns out that Atlas was actually just like this really cool guy. Oh, a commercial break. No. Why does Twitch always put these... the best part. All right, I need everyone in chat to subscribe right now so we can get past this ad. Oh, you guys did, thank God. Whew. Using those Amazon Primes, I see. Okay. Let's get some more dialogue. And we're past. He's going to continue to go through his whole like speech. It's really fun to watch, but we don't actually have time for that. I try to get GDQ to let me watch that, but they said, hey, no. I'm sorry, it's too slow. So on to Olympus Heights. This is the back third of the game that a lot of people kind of forget about. Like that big pivotal plot twist that we just saw, like everybody remembers, right? Like everyone kind of stops the story there and they're like, oh yeah, the back third, it's whatever. So these are the little sisters that we have totally met at this point in the game, for sure. Whole lot of stuff going on here that we are just going to, once again, open up the inventory and just skip past. Okay, now we're going to pick up some candy because, oh man, all this running's got me so hungry. Get some money. Who doesn't like a good donation? Some supplies. So we basically just need this little sister to start running. She's going to open the door for us. Somehow, Rapture built these doors that only little sisters can open. It's pretty amazing tech, but it's also kind of annoying. They're just going to run up, play a little hopscotch real quick.
Who's he? He's here to help us.
So the little sister says that we're here to help them. It's not really the case, but sure. It's kind of like a secondary objective that we got going on. Anyways, Olympus Heights and Apollo Square are two levels that task you with finding Lot 192. So it turns out that Atlas is actually Frank Fontaine, the one that was trying to overthrow Andrew Ryan this entire time. And he has a mind control lock on us. Now we need 2 doses of Lot 192 to break. Once again, we don't really obey his command, so we don't really need to worry about that. He's just kind of currently telling us how bad of a person he is. We're just going to make our way to Apollo, because you can traverse freely through them. There's 1 dose of Lot 192 here, and 1 dose in Apollo. We won't be seeing either one. We're going to do some diary skips to get past that. And now this is probably the most visually confusing trick to keep up with. I'm going to talk about it a little bit beforehand, but we're about to not only use a splicer body to do our fun clips, but we're going to take it outside the map. And what that means is that there are areas outside the map called no player zones. No player zones are areas that the player cannot be in. Other things like splicers, splicer bodies, objects can go through them. So it's going to look like I throw the body and it just goes away. However, I'm still attached to it, so I'm still not like ghost form. We need to get on the splicer. Thank you. So even though I'm throwing the splicer body away, just keep in mind that I'm traveling with it. It just visually doesn't quite look like it. Okay, lost the body there. It's also a very particular trick. You need to throw it over here, through a no-player zone, pick it back up, throw it through another no-player zone, pick it back up, throw it through a third no-player zone down to the bottom of the level, where I can just simply walk off to the side, and hey, here's the bathysphere that we've been looking for. Gotta walk through the back. Now, I actually do need to be setting up for another death warp here, so I'm going to take a little bit of damage, and then activate the bathysphere to Point Prometheus. This is because we want to do a death warp at the very beginning of Point Prometheus to get outside the bathysphere as it's rising up. This is where Fontaine kind of shows up and says, hey, I'm the new big bad of the game. Come fight me if you dare. Look at all these powers that I have. But it turns out he doesn't really have telekinesis, which would probably help him out. So here he is kind of flexing. We're just going to set this up so we can do a fling. We want to get up on top of another invisible wall. This one's a little tricky. It's a round object that likes to roll around. Might need to move it. Oh. Alright. There we go. You have to be a little careful with items when they're moving. If you save when an object's in motion, it will just lose all collision forever and won't come back. Which is really, really annoying, especially when you see one of the tricks later on. But we're going to get around some triggers. Look at this guy. He's going to run away. This level is just filled with a lot of triggers that are supposed to kind of lock you in place and make you sit through Fontaine's nonsense. This is known as Last Chance Kid. If you mess it up, he just gives you a whole bunch of last chances. He's such a nice guy. And then he's just going to T-pose. We don't actually do the quest line here like we don't for any other area, but the game assumes that we have. So it gives us the Big Daddy suit, and you're going to see it kind of fall into place here. This is actually really, really nice because it's going to help with the splicer stuff that we're going to do in this level. This is the infamous escort mission of the game, and we will mess with the little sister here in a little bit, but not off the start. So we're going to spawn on a splicer. Take out his companion. So being the big daddy makes splicers non-aggressive towards you until you attack them. So they're like, oh, big daddy, I don't want to mess with this. All right. Sometimes splicers will just run away from you as well. I don't really know why, but they usually come back. Okay. This one's a little problematic if they're on stairs. These are kind of volatile tricks. Is he running away again? Come back here. Yeah, we can use either side, which needs him to kind of stand in place. Remove his hat so we don't hit that on the way down. Okay. You might be thinking, like, why don't you just use the little sister to open the door? It's going to be a lot quicker. Because what's to come? So we're going to clip through that door. Do a hard save. Because we're going to use this ashtray as our setup for another splicer. So this is where losing collision could be very problematic. This is not a thuggish splicer, which is the melee ones I was talking about earlier. Which is why it's really nice that they're not aggressive. Because if the splicer was aggressive towards us, she would just run away constantly. Anyways, we need this ashtray stacked up on this couch. And when she walks close enough, and her just general pathing, I'm going to try to jump on this, and then walk over to her head. A little bit too early. Alright, remove the mask. And we're going to take this splicer for a little bit of a ride. We can't just take the splicer to the end of the level. We actually need a atom harvesting tool that the little sisters give to us. We actually need a little sister to beat the level, but we can get a little bit further by just taking this body down here. This entire level is built upon checkpoints, especially for the little sister. So you're supposed to get one at the beginning and then lead her through 3 different body fights. So there's a body on the floor that she needs to harvest, and then the splicers pop up and try to fight you. And once you've killed off 5 or 6 of them, then she moves on. And as she goes along, she has a health bar, which if she does happen to die or get scared, if you want to say, you can respawn her at these air vents. So you can see this one's red currently. That means she hasn't hit the trigger that would make this a checkpoint. And as she runs past it, become active. For whatever reason, that air vent back there lets you pull out a little sister when you shouldn't be able to. So we get to skip 2 of the 3 bodies here, which is really, really nice because this level is a pain. We're going to take out some splicers. Now, the little sister will care if you're in combat, and she will run to you instead of through her checkpoints, as long as the fight lasts more than like 2 seconds. So if you can kill a splicer really quickly, she doesn't care. She's just going to keep running through these checkpoints. Now, this splicer always has 6 proxy mines on them, which is really, really handy for the fight coming up. Just going to kind of do a little prep work. So we don't want her to just show up, harvest the body, and she's good to go. And put a proxy mine on this wall and a proxy mine on this sofa. It's because there's 2 different pathways the splicers can spawn from once this fight starts. So we're going to skip this dialogue just to start it early. We're going to kind of look in the middle so we can just replace these when need be. They don't always play by the rules. Yeah, sometimes they sneak around, but for the most part, it's down the path we just came from or the path we're going. Replace that. This body also has another 6 proxy mines on it, which we're going to use for later. We're going to save these. We should have 1 or more splicer. It should be good to go. Just going to start running. Now there's really 2 more checkpoints that she has to hit that we care about. So there's one up here right at the end, and then there's one on the other side of this wall. Once she hits the checkpoint on the other side of this wall, she will just run to the end of the map and not care about fighting, not care about us. She's just going to go to the last air vent. So we're going to let her hit that checkpoint real quick. We're about to fight the Kool-Aid Man, and this fight does take a little bit longer than a couple seconds. So she should be good. He's going to bust out. Oh, yeah. Yeah, she's just going to keep running. I didn't reload that. Okay. we got some time to go. Kind of fun to mess with that Big Daddy. So now we have Fontaine coming up. Probably one of the easiest boss fights in gaming history. He's not really a big deal, not really a big threat. Design-wise, he's kind of a cool concept where he like changes different styles. You're supposed to use different types of plasmids and ammos to counteract them. But if you remember back all the way in Neptune's Bounty, we picked up the grenade launcher damage increase, and we can just blast them. Grenades turn out to be like the best plasmid inadvertently. So this is the final bit. Once again, shout out to the devs for making this game. I really hope Cloud Chamber making BioShock 4 or whatever they call it make more boss fights, because sadly there's not really boss fights in 2 or Infinite. So if they're watching this, please put in some really cool boss fights. I think that would really help out with the series. But now it's time for a 1v1 showdown with Fontaine. He's got 3 waves. We got some proxy mines. That's what happens. So this run's almost over, and I want it to last a little bit longer, so I'm just going to take a picture of him real quick. All right. So 3 proxy mines on the floor is enough to instantly end a wave. Unfortunately, we can only carry 6 proxy mines, so this takes care of phases 1 and 2. One more wave, and he will be done. Just blast him down, and that is time. The biggest question at the end of the run that you might have, and I think I saw it in chat a little bit ago, is what ending do you get? Do you save or harvest the Little Sisters? Good, bad ending, neutral ending, whatever it is. We didn't interact with any Little Sisters. It's just not a thing we have to do anymore. And so the game by default just assumes we got the good ending. Until you actually start harvesting the Little Sisters, the game always gives you the good ending, which is really, really nice because it's definitely the best one. Also, this is something I noticed in practice, but I don't think the Little Sisters blink here at all, which is even more psychotic than what they actually do. So if you like this run at all and you were interested in learning it, I am in the process of making a tutorial, which you can hopefully find here soon on my YouTube, just youtube.com/bloodthunder. Hopefully here soon. I get a little bit perfectionist about it. So if you want to learn this at all, feel free to ask me questions. I can stop by my streams, whatever it may be. I am more than happy to help out. Things have gotten kind of confusing, but you don't have to do all of these tricks to get a good time. Even without a lot of the newer stuff, you can still get close to a sub 30. I mean, you could probably even get a sub 30 without the medical and Neptune strats. Yeah, thanks GDQ for having me once again. It's always a blast to show this off. I want to say, and someone can fact check me on this, I think I'm the first person to get to showcase the same game in the same category 4 times, which is pretty incredible. Maybe there'll be a 5th. Keep raising money. It's a great cause. Always happy to help out.
But I think I know. A family.
And yeah, the whole speedrun community is like a family, so. Happy AGDQ.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Blood Thunder. Fantastic job as always. It really is not often that you get to run the same game multiple times at GDQ. It's really cool to see how the strats and the runner have both evolved. That whole run, I think, could be summed up in one donation. $10 from Atlas says, "Chat, would you kindly consider donating to the Prevent Cancer Foundation?" And that's a good point. You should consider. It's going to a good cause. And that is it for me at the hosting desk for today. I will be handing the mic to Musical Daredevil after this quick break, but keep those donations coming in. Be good humans, and I will catch you later this week.
Welcome back to Awesome Games Done Quick 2023 Online, powered by Twitch. I'm Musical Daredevil, and I will be your host for our very next run, Fallout 3 run by Banana Pegasus, which, as a runner of Bethesda's other RPG franchise, The Elder Scrolls, I am very hyped for. I hope you are all hyped as well to see that all quests run. We do still have a few minutes while we get set up for that, so in the meantime, I'm going to get to some of your donations. We have a $25 donation from Flexi5. Hi, GDQ. Would you kindly put this donation towards the Goat Sim Cute Kitten Overload? Keep being cute, chat. And checking in on that incentive, we have raised over $3,000 towards that incentive for the Goat Simulator Cute Kitten Overload. But that is a $10,000 incentive, so we're not quite a third of the way there yet. So make sure, if you would like to see that incentive get met, that you get your donations in now, and on that donation page, you put your donations towards that Cute Kitten Overload, because that will not happen automatically. You must put it towards that. And you can also put it towards many of our other incentives that we have currently going on. We have $50 from Diana. Welcome to GDQ Agents. This should be a straightforward operation. We need you to donate to upgrade the category of the Hitman Blood Money run to Pro Essay difficulty. Enjoy the ride, agents. I probably did not get the expression quite correct since it's been a while since I watched anything Hitman related, but I hope I at least did an okay job on that. And who's that over in the corner? Looks like a shadow. It's probably nothing. Anyway, we have $25 from Cream of Leet. Thank you to all of the organizers, runners, donors, and donators so far. Looking forward to this Fallout 3 run and the rest of the marathon. And with that, we are going to have a quick word from our sponsors. Welcome back, everyone. So I've just gotten word that our dad is missing. So I'm going to hand it off to Banana Pegasus to hopefully go find him. Good luck, Banana Pegasus, with Fallout 3 all quests and finding our dad.